T-minus 20 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
I'm supposed to be the franchise player, and we're in here talking about practice. I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We talking about practice. Yeah. Not a game, not a game.
Me. Bam, bam. Me, man.
Not a game.
Slap that like she scored 30.
What are we even talking about, man? We talking about sports here.
All right, welcome back, baby. Week 5, we're here. Guys, can you honestly, I mean, how fast did these 5 weeks go already? Can't believe it's
too fast. It's going by too fast. I don't like it, but at least we're in the swing of things. We got NFL, college, MLB playoffs going. It's a good time of the year right now. I can't complain.
Dude, too fast, bro. I'm glad we got 17 games this year because I don't know, 16 might just not have been enough.
It's never enough. It's never enough. Honestly, and I was talking about it with one of my friends. It's just crazy. Once like football gets going, there's pretty much a football game every day of the week. Because at a certain point of the year, the MAC does a Maction Tuesdays.
Yeah,
and then somebody will throw in a Wednesday game. And then, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and so on and so forth. There's games 7 days a week at some point of the year. So people can never get enough football.
Yeah. Man, and you know what? To be honest, guys, I almost didn't make it today.
Why?
I got beat up pretty bad yesterday with that Texas loss to Oklahoma. I mean, they fooled me. I thought Texas was back for a second there. It looked really good. And then I get beat up in the bets because I chose Alabama in multiple bets first half, and none of that cashes for me yesterday. Just a sour day, sour Saturday. But that's what it comes with the love of football. You get the pain of football as well.
Yeah. Bro, I took Bama live -5.5. So they go and score the touchdown. They're up 5, and then they're going for 2. And I'm like, no, you fucking motherfucking don't go for 2. You're not going to make it. Just kick the field goal to go up 6. So they go for 2, and they fucking make it. So they're up 7 with 4 minutes left. I'm like, it's over. They have all the momentum. And fucking A&M just marches down the field, scores the tutty. Then Bama goes 3 and out. And, well, we know what happened with the rest.
Yeah. That blocked punt, I thought, okay,
yeah,
Bama's got the momentum back. Texas A&M answers with like a 96-yard field goal return. Absolute madness at Kyle Field yesterday. Good for them, though.
What? Fuck no,
Texas,
not good for them.
Texas is down bad right now.
We're bad. We're down bad right now.
Texas loses a heartbreaker to OU, a game that OU had no business winning. I mean, they went to their freshman backup quarterback. Granted, he's the 5-star number 2 overall quarterback, but quite the guy to turn to in that situation. But they had no business winning that game. To me, we were talking about it. One of my group chats. It came down to those 2 Hail Marys that Caleb Williams threw up on 3rd and long. Both of them were 3rd and longer than 10 yards. He just chunks it up, and the same receiver, wasn't it? Deandre, is it Deandre Mims or something?
Yeah,
I think I might be messing up his first name, but I know Mims was his last name. So crazy. And then for people who bet on Texas, you had them +3, +3.5. You're there going down to the end thinking, oh shoot, I'm gonna cover at least or push. But, much to their dismay, OU hit them with that nice little, I guess, they looked like they were going to do a quarterback power, but then it turns into a toss the other way for the running back, and game over. Runs out for a touchdown. I mean, personally, I was going to say, Justin, when you were going over, the Texas game, one man's misery is another man's glory. I was watching the game, eating some food, and I was going crazy because I took OU.
Yeah, good for you.
Pretty crazy. Yeah,
it hurt. I told you yesterday, man. I texted you. I said, "Hey, I'm in a dark place right now. Maybe we shouldn't talk about any sports right now because I'm not all there right now. It was hurting bad."
Crazy game. One of the better Red River shootouts or Red River rivalries, whatever they call them. But That game, it's one of those bucket list games. I want to go to one of those games.
Dude, I know, bro.
Absolutely.
The atmosphere there is crazy now. Fans are back in the stands. So,
Yeah.
sorry.
But to cap off the night, though, we did have Wilder Fury, which was absolute madness. Great fight.
I didn't see
Fury,
it. I'm not gonna lie.
Fury, though.
It was a great fight. Shout out to Deontay Wilder because, he complained last fight about it being, called early because his corner threw in the flag, and he never personally threw in the flag. He never gave them the hey, get me out of this fight sign or whatever. And, he went out on his shield, the way that he wanted to last fight. He went out on his shield. This fight, straight warrior. There's a lot of talk about, if Wilder had, had his ego broken, or if he had been humbled, to a degree where, he wasn't himself anymore after that last Fury fight. But, he came out, and to me, I think he put all of that to rest. I know a lot of the broadcasts, they were talking about Wilder's his legacy and what it would be. But I think he solidified his legacy as, one of the better heavyweights. He went toe-to-toe with Fury, man. I mean, Fury is a one-of-a-kind, 280.
Dropped him twice.
Yeah, dropped Fury twice.
Who won? I don't even know who fucking won.
Fury won.
Fury knocked him
right,
out.
he knocked him out, right?
Yeah.
Knocked him out in the 11th.
But that doesn't take away from Wilder's legacy of
yeah.
last night, though.
There's quite a few times where I thought Wilder was going to go down. It looked like he was going to go stiff, but then he just found like another way to, take another breath and, clinch and then fight his way around. And, people said it perfectly. That right hand will keep him in any fight.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I a lot of respect for Wilder because people were trying to put him below, Joshua and some other people. And I don't think that's the case, man. I think Joshua's proven it by the fights that he's lost, and Wilder, proved it by going toe-to-toe with Fury, and looked like he might have been winning some rounds early on. But Fury, man, he's that guy. Somebody said, is he on the Mount Rushmore? He's getting there. Yeah.
Irvin on the show? Gig him out. I was with Irvin last night, man. I didn't think we're up. Me and Irvin are here. Ben ain't here.
All right, let's get into week 5, though. Roland, you got the weather report for us. Let's get into this.
Week 5 weather. We're getting into the fall weather. As we said last week, you're seeing the wind, pick up at a lot of places. I don't think there's, too much rain to look out for from what I can see here on the report, other than, those 2 night games with some overcast, or not 2 night games, but the Chiefs and then that Ravens game there at the end. But, nothing really to report. I would look out for some of these wins if you're betting the total. Like in that Packers and Bengals game, I'm sure that'll be a pretty popular over. But yeah, I would just look out for that. Not really too much here.
It won't be like Sunday night game where we had that Bucks and Patriots last weekend where, man, weather was bad, affected some throws. AB dropped a few.
Yeah, for sure.
Partly cloudy on a lot of the games today, but like Roland said, for the most part, shouldn't be too much.
Partly cloudy with a chance of football.
Hey.
I like that.
No, Ben's at Rochas, way. He's not at Taco Ole.
I think that's actually Ben checking in.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
There you go.
What's up, Ben?
Ended up at Taco Lane.
Roland, injury report. I know a lot of these guys are going to be game time decision, but you do have some outs. Let's tell us about it.
Yeah, let's go with the guys that are gonna suit up, and as we get deeper into the season, this injury report is only gonna get longer. There's some guys that we left off of this list just for the sake of the podcast. We would be here forever if we were reading everybody's questionable tag. But anyways, without further ado, you got Chase Edmonds. He had been questionable all week. He's likely to play. He logged in a practice on Friday, so they're saying that his shoulder's good to go. He's probably gonna suit up and play. Joe Mixon. He was the guy that was looking like he was going to be out, but he is going to suit up. He logged into practice yesterday. They said he's going to play in a limited capacity. So if you're looking at starting him in fantasy, you might have to because you don't have anybody else. But I would suggest maybe throwing somebody in there for him because he's not going to be 100% today, but he will suit up and play. Zeke Elliott, he's had a knee issue all week, but he's going to play. He's come out and said there's no way he's going to miss the game. He can run without any discomfort, so he should be good to go. Bridgewater, concussion, he's likely to play. Gibson, he's had a shin injury that he's been dealing with in his shoulder. Seems like he's banged up every week, but he's going to play. And now getting down to guys who are probably true game time decisions, you can't really tell. Cortland Sutton, he's a true game time decision. TJ Hawkinson, he's supposed to play, but it's still a game time decision. Chris Jones, game time decision. Dalvin Cook, probably the biggest name on this list fantasy-wise. He is a true game time decision. If you have Patterson, if you have Madison on your bench, might be a good opportunity to load him up. It seems like whenever he gets opportunities, he at least comes away with 1 touchdown. So Madison might be a good fantasy start. And then the two Lions running backs, DeAndre Swift and Williams, both questionable.
Damn, both?
But both should play based on all reports, but there hasn't been anything official saying that they will. Now the guys who are out, Christian McCaffrey looked like he might have played this week, but he's out with that hamstring injury. Greg Newsome, he's also out. A big piece to pay attention to, Justin put it on here, is the Patriots starting offensive line. They've got all but one player out, so that's 4 out of their 5 starters are going to be out. Going up against the Texans.
Some injuries and COVID there.
Injuries, COVID, knocking players out. The spread has already shrunk from, I think it was -10 to -8 right now, the last time that I checked. So people buying on the Texans to keep it close with all these injuries. And you have Mac Jones back there, who's not exactly the most mobile quarterback. So that offensive line is not working for you. It could be a long day for Mac Jones. So look out, Patriots fans or Patriots fantasy owners. Watch out. George Kittle added to the IR. He's out for at least 3 games. Big loss for fantasy owners. Big loss for the 49ers, who was just a team these last few years who seem to be injury cursed ever since they went to that Super Bowl. David Montgomery was having a monster week last week. He's out. And he's also on the IR. So Damian Williams was probably the hottest name in fantasy football this past week. If you have him, load him up. Julio Jones, he's out. A.J. Brown is in, though. So a little bit of a shift there for the Titans. They get at least one of their guys back, but Julio Jones is still out. And then big news for the Dolphins. This just hit actually this morning. Devontae Parker, he is out, and Will Fuller was added to the IR this week. So
damn,
I just got a text message. I might have to leave sometime throughout this pod because I'm going to line up at wide receiver for the Dolphins today because they don't have anybody else today. It's a large spread down there in Tampa. Tampa's -11 right now with that latest injury news. So,
shit.
Yeah, like the Falcons, man, because they're also banged up. Cordell Patterson went out now too. So that Pitts that we gave out on Thursday night is starting to look pretty dang good.
Yeah, Pitts already with 18 points. So if you watched us on Thursday, we all bought Pitts, and he already has a first half touchdown. So this might be the game that gets him going, or it might just be a case of playing the Jets.
Shit, I remember we did the buy or sell, and we were like, buy on Pitts. And then DK Metcalf came up, and I was like, sell. Fucking guy went off, dude.
It happens like that sometimes. It happens like that.
He went off with Gino.
Hey, any names on this list that stand out to you guys for any particular reason? Before we move on from the injury report.
For me, Zeke, man, because you've had those Pollard whispers. You know, those people who say, hey, get Pollard in there a little bit more. He's younger. He's quicker. If we see a significant – I mean, I know this isn't a significant injury, but if it leads to a more significant injury, do we see a little changing of the guard in Dallas? You know, I personally don't think so because Zeke just got paid. But for all those Pollard fans out there, I mean, this might be the opportunity, man.
He can make the most of it. For me, next week, because it didn't hit this list because it didn't matter for this week because the game's already been played. But at the top of next week's list, we're going to see Russell Wilson out with that finger rupture in Thursday night's game. So I see that he's out 4 to 8 weeks, probably on the guarantee side. But could it be more? We don't know. That is a hard injury to come back from within the season. So we'll see what happens there.
Man, and he missed Tyler Lockett on that throw. That's the most heartbreaking part of the whole sequence for me. I have Tyler Lockett. Would have been a big night.
Dude, he always fucking misses Tyler Lockett, man. Deep. I had Lockett too. I mean, he still put up like 10 points, but yeah, you know, his ceiling was super high.
All right, we got a fantasy mailbag. We do this weekly. We post on Twitter and Facebook, and people submit as well in the comments on the live. For this week, we are looking at Brett Matthew here, and he says, Dynasty San Francisco half-point PPR. Do I trade Trevor Lawrence and Mooney for A-Rod and Hawkinson?
Man, that's a good question. Just because he said it's a dynasty league, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a league where it's not a redraft league. Yeah, it's a keeper. You're keeping a lot of your guys in the dynasty. You're only really drafting rookies in your drafts yearly. So these trades are really big, and it just depends because he reads on and he says current quarterbacks include Carr, Big Ben, and he says Mooney is his number 6 to 7 wide receiver, with all 5 young guys ahead of him. His tight end is just Ertz and Hooper. Strong roster to compete now. So he's saying that he needs this boost at quarterback right now and getting A-Rod. Is it worth it by trading Mooney and T-Law? I think if his roster is constructed as he says, I would do the trade. Because like he said, he's ready to win now. I don't think T-Law is going to be a dependable option. The only thing I would say is, Derek Carr's been having a good year, but I still think if you have a chance to get A-Rod, I would take him. And A-Rod's going to play at least another 3 to 4 years.
The fucking Jaguars organization right now is fucked. The whole organization is just trash, man. All that Urban Meyer talk and those stories you guys were talking about, how the players were laughing at him when he walked out of the meeting. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's no leadership there. There's no structure in Jacksonville. I think, unfortunately, Trevor Lawrence is just – he's not going to be that guy. He was the guy in college, but if I have an opportunity to get A-Rod, instead of him, I would definitely do it. Hawkinson isn't bad either. I mean, yes, you lose a little bit, with Mooney, but I think overall wide receivers are, kind of a dime a dozen. I would definitely get A-Rod over Trevor Lawrence here. And to touch on Ertz, I did stream him this week. I know Philly has Goddard, but I mean, Zach Ertz is he still has ceiling to be that guy. So that's why I streamed him. I think Jalen Hurts is going to look for him. There's not really a huge wide receiver, a huge name wide receiver in Philly. So look for Ertz to get some touches today, hopefully.
What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, I think he kind of answered his own question when he said strong roster to compete now. With that mentality that you do have a roster that can win your fantasy football ship now, you got to go for A-Rod just because, he is a man on a mission trying to get that one last, run, as they said in those Snapchats with, what's his receiver's name? It's eluding me right now.
Who?
The Green Bay receiver. They posted up on Snapchat the whole Michael Jordan.
Devontae Adams?
Devontae Adams. Well, I don't know why I can't think Devontae Adams, but him and Devontae posted, that last hoorah for them. So they're definitely trying to make something happen this year. If you put a guy like that, I mean, you should be competing in the ship at the end of the year for you if you're in the dynasty league with the roster you have now.
For sure. Damn, everybody's just dropping fantasy questions now.
All right, let's get to a fantasy question from Josh. He says, Jacoby Myers against Houston, Jamar Chase against Green Bay, or Emmanuel Sanders against KC? Kansas City.
Jamar Chase all day, baby. I'm taking Jamar Chase here. Second place would be Emmanuel Sanders for me, but Jamar Chase, Jair Alexander, the number 1 cornerback for the Packers. Like I said earlier, it's a long list of injuries. He's out, so we didn't even get to put Jair Alexander on there, but he is out. So I'm going Jamar Chase. I expect the receivers for the Bengals to have a big game today.
Same, man. We all know what the offense looks like in Green Bay, but their defense is always susceptible. So Jamar Chase against Green Bay. I'm a big fan of Burrow. He did well last week. Ben took the Boyd prop, and it fucking exploded. I think he hit it like in the first quarter, maybe. Yeah. So he was slinging the rock last week, and I think it continues. Now, do they get the win? I don't know. But as far as Burrow slinging the rock and having that rapport with Jamar Chase, I think it continues against. I wouldn't say weak, but not the most solid defense in Green Bay. Emmanuel Sanders, he's just not that guy for me. He really doesn't get looks, and Jacoby Myers. I mean, he does, but they're not like huge
coming
looks,
into his own.
Like
into his own.
Yeah.
The thing is, Ron, at the end of the day, you're correct with Jamar Chase because they're almost averaging a touchdown to him a game now. So
Yeah. And I think
with the Bills, Emmanuel Sanders, there's a lot more people to spread around before Emmanuel gets his looks. So that makes more sense to go with what is probably their number one in Jamar Chase over there.
Yeah, and I think Diggs goes off today. So
yeah. All right, moving on. Tennessee or Vikings defense?
I don't know who the hell they're playing. Somebody
Tennessee's
tell me.
playing Jacksonville, and the Vikings are playing Detroit.
Tough question. You know, the Vikings defense did decent last week. I think they held the Browns to 14 points. It was 14-7 last week in their loss. Tennessee, they had a decent matchup against the Jets, but they looked pretty susceptible at times. So, you know what? I'll go Vikings against the Lions here instead of Tennessee versus Jacksonville.
I'm going to go with Vikings are playing Detroit, right?
Yeah. Vikings are playing Detroit, and Jacksonville is playing Tennessee.
I'm gonna go with Vikings just because of what Roland touched on earlier as far as the injury report. You guys mentioned both of their running backs are out. Pardon me, I was gonna say who the fuck, but who the hell trusts Jared Goff back there? You know what I mean? So is the game in is it a Vikings home game, guys? Or
it's a Vikings home game.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely take it. And it's against a losing squad. You know, you could see them go for it on fourth down, sometimes not necessarily be kicking field goals. So the less points that they have, you know, the more points for your defense. So I would definitely go Vikings over Tennessee because, yes, I just said Jacksonville team is, you know, the whole organization is trash right now, but that doesn't mean that the players are still going to go out and try to ball for themselves on the field and say, you know, fuck the coach.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ron. I think Detroit, you know, winless team right now. Jared Goff back there, like you said, who trusts him? Both running backs out. It's just a recipe for disaster for them today. And then you got to go into the Skull Stadium over there. I think you got to start.
I like that chant, though. That chant's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Definitely. All right, moving on to Josh's question. He says, Patriots defense against Houston or Washington against New Orleans? This is a good one, too. And I'll go first here, give my take, then we can go with you guys. Washington defense, I think they're the biggest fraud that all of us bought into at this point. You got to go with Davis Mills, that Patriots defense. I know Stephon Gilmore's no longer part of the team, but I don't think that's going to make the difference with Judon and them boys out there. I go Patriots defense against that Texans offense.
Go ahead, Roland.
I'll agree with Justin, man. It's the Patriots defense against the Texans offense, and like he said in his opening part of his take, the Washington defense is probably the biggest lie ever told going into a season. Everybody was talking about that front four, how that front four is going to dominate and is going to help out the secondary, but neither has happened. They haven't been getting a lot of pressure on guys. It looked like at times against the Falcons that they were, turning the corner, but they couldn't stop the Falcons if they wanted to last week. So I'm going to go with the Patriots defense against Houston. And if you drafted Washington early, that stinks. So hopefully you didn't get them that early because I know they were a popular defense.
I know we agree a lot with each other on this show. So it's kind of tough to get different opinions, but I just think that we're all on the same side on this one, man. The Patriots defense against Houston. We know what Winston brings in New Orleans. It's a very hit or miss. But boomer bust. But if he hits, I mean, you're screwed. And I would rather go against an offense like Houston against going an offense like New Orleans, who does have the chance to show out. There's nothing going on in Houston, man. Absolutely nothing. And we know the way Bill Belichick coaches. He's always a tough coach. I mean, he had Brady on the ropes. So what's he going to do against this weak Houston offense? So I would definitely go with New England, man. With New England's defense for sure.
A little bit of breaking news before we move on. Dalvin Cook is out.
Oh fuck! I got him in two of my lineups, bro.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook is out.
So just fantasy lineups out.
Yeah, if you have Madison. Load them up. So that brings me to a starter sit. Might be a little bit of a personal one, but nonetheless, I think it's a decent question. Maybe we won't all agree here. If you running back 2, Damian Williams, you just picked him up off waivers, or Madison. Do you throw him in there? Damian Williams is going up against the Raiders, and Madison is going up against who do we just talk about right now? I'm blanking out. The
Detroit.
Lions. Yeah.
Man, I think I would still go Damian Williams because they have to run more. Because I think with Minnesota, you still have their quarterback who's competent enough where they're putting a rookie back there for the Bears. I just think they're going to run a little more, be a little more run heavy. I would lean that way.
I would go with the Vikings. I'd go with the Vikings guy. I would go with Madison. Yeah, because that's what right now. What you brought when you brought that up, if they're going to be scoring a lot of points and the Bears might be behind, so I don't know if they're going to run the ball a lot.
Yeah, those are good points.
Yeah, I mean, and Madison is more of a PPR guy who doesn't play PPR nowadays, so I would go with Madison over Williams.
Great points.
All right, so I got one more. I guess starter sit. It's every week we have to talk about them. Do you want to start Brandon Cooks against the Patriots, or
the Joe T special?
Joe T special,
or Tyler Boyd against the Packers?
Cincinnati versus Pack.
I'm kind of iffy on Boyd just because I think T Higgins is back, and that's another mouth to feed. We said that Jamar Chase is going to get his looks. I think this week they really try to mix, no pun intended here, or what? No. Is it a hyperbole? Is it a hyperbole? Play on words? No. Okay. They're going to try to get this guy in the mix, Joe Mixon. So I think that
that's good. I like that.
Yeah. So I think that there's a lot of mouths to feed, man. Brandon Cooks. I just did say that New England has a good defense, but he's just the only mouth to feed over there, man. I mean, who else are you gonna go to? So PPR, he'll get his touches, he'll get his 6, maybe 7 catches, maybe a touchdown, but you're probably easily looking at 12, 13, 14 points from Cooks, regardless, to where Boyd is just another mouth to feed. He did go off though last week.
Give me Boyd. He is going up against a banged-up secondary. Jair Alexander out. For that reason, I'll go that way, just to give you something different to think about. I know normally we do have the same takes like Ron said, but I wanted to play devil's advocate here and just give you something else to think about, something else to factor in.
Shoot, I'll go Boyd, man. I think he might be establishing himself as, a go-to target. I know I said I'm on Jamar Chase, but I think the Bengals are going to be forced to pass the ball a lot because they don't have Mixon at full capacity this week. So even though there are a lot of mouths to feed, like Ron said, there are a lot of mouths to feed. I will give him that point. But I think it's just going to be enough output from Joe Burrow to support maybe all 3 guys as being startable guys. So load up Boyd here because I'm a little scared off the Texans. The Patriots still do have a pretty good defense, and that large spread, maybe the Patriots get out ahead and start running the ball. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Moving on to the must start of the week for me, a tight end. I know normally you think, why would a tight end be must start? Well, because he's money. Lately, Dalton Schultz, I think it's 2 tutties the last 2 games that he's put up. Probably guaranteed tutty against New York. The line has moved for Dallas. It was at 7 to open up the week. It is now at 10. I expect Dalton Schultz to be in the mix. He's Dak's little check down, and then he can extend the ball afterwards. So I like Dalton Schultz this week.
Those are your favorite, right, Justin?
What do you mean?
The tight ends?
Ah, come on. What are we talking now? What are we talking about, Ron?
All right, who's next with their stardom?
All right, so my must start of the week is a guy that you probably drafted in 2nd, 3rd round, but I think he's going to have a monster week this week. It's Justin Jefferson, the receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. He's been coming along, and he gets a favorable matchup against Detroit based on Pro Football Focus's wide receiver cornerback matchups. This is probably the best matchup of the whole slate in terms of, just a receiver going up against a banged up secondary. They lost their number 1 cornerback. The Lions did week 1 and Jeff Okudah. So they've already been down a man early against the other receivers, I guess, this year that the Lions have faced, they've given up 31 fantasy points to Deebo Samuel pretty much week 1, 14 against the Packers, 23 against the Ravens, and they gave up 19 fantasy points against the Bears receivers. So I'm going with Justin Jefferson to eat this week. And with the Dalvin Cook out, they're going to lean on that passing game a little bit more. So load up Justin Jefferson. Let's go.
I like that. I like that a lot, man. I'm going to go with another wide receiver here, Stephon Diggs. He's had 15, 16, 12, and 18 points in his first 4 weeks. He's only had 1 touchdown, though, which came in week 2. However, they are playing the Chiefs today, and I think he goes off, man. I think he's going to need to be a big part of the game today if they want to get the win against KC. Look for Josh Allen to continue his, he's throwing fucking 3-4 touchdowns a game. They haven't been going to Diggs, just like I mentioned. Knox has been getting a lot of the touchdowns over there, and in Buffalo, Zach Moss, as well. But I think he gets in the end zone, man. And I mean, even if he doesn't, he had 114 yards last week and still gave you 18.5 fantasy points. So he's a guy. Now here's a guy.
Collinsworth.
Yeah, man. So regardless of it, he's my start of the week, man. We just did see Casey. They're the ones who went and got out. Who went and got Sherman? Did Sherman? Didn't they? Or was that Tampa Bay?
That was Tampa Bay. But KC does have the worst defense in the league.
Yeah, man. They have
32 out of 32 out of
abysmal defense.
Yeah, and then when you're going against a team like the Bills with Josh Allen, who's on an MVP type of season, you got to start the Stephon Diggs today. And it should be a high-scoring game. So maybe some overtime, get you little overtime points as well.
All right, and just in for Ben's pick, he did text me what he wanted on.
Nah, bro, he's not here. Nah, fuck no, bro.
I do want to give it out to the people. It is a person we mentioned this week, Damian Williams. That is his pick, must start of the week. For this week
against the Raiders. The Raiders do have a bad run defense, so a good pick.
A good play, Ben.
The only way that we're going to talk about Ben on this show is if he brings us some fucking food.
Some Taco Lay. All right, bench warmers of the week.
You live by Taco Lay, don't you?
I'm right next door. I had Taco Lay this morning. Taco Lay this morning.
Damn, you too, Justin. What's up, Roland? Yeah. They're leaving us out in the cold, man.
It gets delivered to my house. The ladies are nice to me.
Oh, we're here dying of hunger, all hungover, and you guys talking about Taco Lay.
Yeah. All right, bench warmers of the week for me. Somebody we talked about earlier, Cole Beasley. Reason why Emmanuel Sanders' usage is up. Josh Allen, like Ron said just last second ago with Diggs, the ball is being spread around really well in Buffalo. It's even going to the tight end. It's going to the backfield. A lot of usage besides Cole Beasley is happening. Cole Beasley's numbers have been dropping. If you're thinking about him at the flex, you might want to consider somebody else because right now that ball is moving, and that's a good thing for for Ben because he's a Bills Mafia now. So good thing for Ben.
Mine is Amari Cooper. He's still hampered with some injuries. Doesn't exactly have the best wide receiver versus cornerback matchup. I'm blanking out. The Giants do have a pretty decent secondary in terms of their cornerbacks. And I think we're going to see, the Cowboys do a lot of what they did last week. They're going to control the game of the run game. Dalton Schultz is going to eat for Justin. And I think Cooper is still going to be brought back a little bit slowly. He's still not 100%, seems to be dealing with a different injury each week. And then the other thing that scares me off of the receivers in this matchup for the Cowboys is the fact that it's a 10-point spread. So we can see the Cowboys get ahead early and, again, control the game running it. And so there's not that many opportunities for Cooper. So if you have other options, I'd not look at Cooper.
Okay, I like that.
All right.
Shitting on my boys a little bit there, but it's okay because you're only stating facts there, Roland.
Truth teller.
Trying to help.
The truth hurts. Mine is Baker Mayfield. I'm going to go with Baker, man. He's playing through a torn labrum. He is a little banged up. Week 1, he put up 12. Week 2, 17. Week 3, 16. Week 4 against Minnesota was a low-scoring game. He only put up 9. He's projected at 17 points today, which is kind of nuts, going to LA and playing the Chargers. I don't know. I mean, he lost a wide receiver. He lost Landry. OBJ, I know you guys were really high on him, but I don't know, man. I think they just forced the run today, so I'm not looking for a lot of passing from Baker. They are going against the Chargers defense, who is pretty solid. They got Bosa there. They scored 7 points last week. They scored 10 points. They only gave up 14 points to Las Vegas in a primetime game. So I see Chargers buckling down, and I see another low-scoring game here. So I'm not too high on Baker. I would sit him. He probably wasn't drafted really high coming out of the draft. Anyway, he might not be in your starting lineups, but if you maybe had to stream a quarterback or something, I wouldn't stream him. So I'm kind of off the options. Yeah, I'm kind of off the Baker train this week. Especially with that injury.
For Ben's pick on Benchwarmer of the week, he's going with Gibson from Washington. Gibson, as we mentioned earlier, on the IR list, questionable for today's game, banged up. It's a good pick by Ben again. I think you got to fade that guy for today. All right, so for Josh says, so y'all think I should bench Coop and play Sanders? This goes back to Roland, who mentioned on Benchwarmer of the week he's going to fade Amari Cooper this week.
Man, this is a good question, honestly, because we just talked about with the Kansas City defense, they are ranked 32nd out of 32 teams in the overall defensive categories. So I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. There's going to be a lot of points to go around. Emmanuel Sanders, in my opinion, has established himself as a number 2 in Buffalo. So I would go Emmanuel Sanders here. Against the Kansas City Chiefs over Amari Cooper. But it's your lineup. You do what you want. But personally, I would go with Emmanuel Sanders here. It depends if Cooper's if you're thinking about that, you must have 2 other good receivers or another good receiver. So yeah.
Roland just had to throw out the disclaimer there, huh?
Yeah.
No, man.
Legal advice.
I'm going to stick with Cooper, man. I know you guys said he's banged up, but they are playing the Giants. If I'm not mistaken, he came up big last year with the Giants. He hasn't had a lot of breakout games. I think he might be due for one. It's
Since week 1, he hasn't broke out. Yeah,
it's supposed to be a high-scoring game. So I would go Cooper, man. Old Mr. Reliable. We did mention earlier that Zeke was a little banged up as well. So, man, I would go Cooper personally. But like Roland said, this is just my opinion. You guys can do what you want. Just because throughout history, throughout his career, I've never been a big Emmanuel Sanders guy. So maybe that I'm a little biased toward it. But
35 years old, still doing it. It's crazy to think.
Dude, Deshaun Jackson, bro, at 34 too.
The D-ball is still there for him.
Yeah, Ricky Jarrett.
All right, Ben's trends. Rollins, I think you're pretty familiar with Ben's trends. Ben's not here, but he did provide them. I want to go through them for us this week.
Yeah, there's some pretty big ones on here. Starting off with the Giants, the Cowboys have been a popular pick to start the season. They are always a popular pick because they're America's team. They seem to always get a lot of betting action, but they have been covering a lot. They find themselves with a big spread, the 10-point favorites, and the Giants, they're 11-2 against the spread in their last 13 as a road dog. So they might have a chance at a backdoor opportunity, or they just might keep this game close. It's a battle of the NFC East division rivals. These games always seem to be played close, so maybe the Giants keep it close here, and that's a pretty strong trend right there. That's 13 games to go off of. The Vikings, they're 7-0 straight up and 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 against the Lions. The Vikings are another team with a double-digit spread. I think the last time I checked, they were 10-point favorites. The Lions last week, they were in the red zone 5 or 6 times and only came away with, I think, 1 touchdown and 1 field goal or something to show for it. They should have covered that game. I'm not going to get into it because they messed up my teaser last week. But the Vikings, this is a tough game for me just because of what I looked at last week. But if you're going off this trend, strong trend, might want to put the Vikings in some parlays if you can, or maybe some teasers. Broncos, 7-1-1 against the spread in their last 9 against the Steelers. Broncos got a strong defense. Teddy Bridgewater's playing this week. And we all know the story with the Steelers. Haven't looked that good. So that's another one to look out for. Jags. They just played on Thursday against the Bengals. 7 straight overs when they have that extra rest. Jags have a game against the Titans. The Titans don't have the strongest defense. They do get A.J. Brown back. This could be a little shootout. Here. A little low-key shootout. I don't know. The total right now is set at 48.5, so it is one of the larger totals this week, and for right reasons. Bengals 8-2 to the over. Their total is 45.5. When Ben threw that in, which I think was about Thursday, updated, that number is at 50.5 right now. The Packers and Bengals total 50.5. That is the third largest total this week. Raiders 8-1-1 to the over. Their last 10 games at home. The Raiders, like we said, they're playing the Bears. The total's at 46. Could see a sneaky over there. Giants, we just talked about them earlier. They're 10-2 in their last 12 to the under. That total is one of the higher ones. It's at 52.5 right now. I could see that going under with that large spread of 10. Maybe there's some clock management there. Miami 7-1 to the over. Coming off and against the spread loss. They lost last week. They got demolished. 7-1 to the over. It's a strong trend. I just don't know how they're going to score points this week. So it might be one of those that you might want to look away from. 10. So let's see here. 10 out of the last 11 meetings between the Saints and the Washington football team have gone over. As we just talked about earlier, the Washington football team does not have a good defense, as we all thought that they would, at least through 4 games this season. The total's at 43.5. That's low in Washington. That could be sneaky over, but the Saints really haven't shown much on offense. So who knows? Dallas, 7 straight overs with Dak at quarterback. 52.5 total. We just talked about it. There's a strong trend to the under and a strong trend to the over. Which one's gonna come through? Is there any trends that you guys want to take this week, or that you guys are looking at? Maybe add into some of your bets.
Probably the Dallas over. I know that's a homer pick for me, but we have been on trend for that. I think we're gonna hit it again. Offense is looking pretty unstoppable, at least.
The Miami 7-1 to the over off an ATL loss is kind of tough now with that news that we just got about both receivers being out. So that's just a little asterisk on here. But other than that, I mean, the Giants 11-2 against the spread, last 13 as a road dog. What's the spread for them in Dallas today? I should know.
Open at 7, now it's at 10.
You see, 10's divisional game. I mean, I know the Giants aren't great, but they always seem to play us tough. So that could definitely be something to look into now that the spread has gone
they just beat the Saints.
into double digits. Yeah. Ben's trends.
Right. Ben's trends for the week. I mean, he's been pretty good with these trends.
Ben's eating, and we're here. We showed up. It's just shout out to us real quick.
Family time though. We'll allow it. Family time's important.
We're family too.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. All right, let's get into the betting segment. It's one of my favorite segments of the week.
Hey,
Survivor Pool. Rest in peace, week 4. You got us drowning right here.
We're drowning like that.
Man, the Saints, we blew it last week. It was a tactical move, like Roland mentioned. We could have gone easy and went with the Bills. We decided, let's not take the Bills just yet. They're going to play the Jets twice. Let's work that later on. We said we got enough faith in what the Saints can bring to the table. They're playing the Giants. They look like a bad team. Apparently, Danny Dimes decided to be Danny Dimes and got the win for them. What can we do about it? It's all right. Shout out to Bet King for providing that anyway. We appreciate y'all. That was a free chance to win $1,000 with a $200 deposit into that book. That's
next slide.
Awesome
next
news.
Slide.
Let's get out of there, Roland says. On to the super contest. All right, let me give out my picks. Jimmy Garoppolo is hurt. That's enough for me. What I saw with the Rams and the Cardinals last week, At 5 points, I'm willing to lay those 5.5 there. I'm going to pick the Cowboys again. Homer pick, I know, but I like what I've been seeing, getting better on offensive weekly. New weapons like Schultz are coming out. It's just a nice thing to see. Defense, number one turnover defense. Trayvon Diggs is a madman out there. Hopefully he gets another interception today. And the Bills, that defense on the Kansas City Chiefs is abysmal. I think they'll cover. Plenty of offense on the Bills. They're only getting better. Josh Allen, after that week 1 fluke, has returned to last year's Josh Allen. Going to be in the MVP race. That's for damn sure.
Preach.
And what's your against the spread record? Do you know?
I was just going to ask that.
I think I went 3-0 last week. Just throwing that in there. And I'm not 100% on my total record.
Well, you have to be in the lead, though. You have to be in the lead, though. Because I went 1-2 last week. Thankfully, the Chargers came through for me. But I think I'm like 5-7. So I'm trying to get to 500 this week. So I already hit on the Rams. So I only got 2 to give out on Sunday. One of them, Justin went over the Cardinals -5.5. The Cardinals, I think, are a team we talked about on Thursday that we might have all been a little bit wrong on when we went over the NFC West. I think we all had them slotted 3rd or 4th.
Not me. No, I don't know.
I like the Cardinals.
He's like,
I like
first.
the Cardinals -5.5, especially with, Trey Lance is going to be the starter today. Rookie quarterbacks really haven't fared too well to start the year in terms of this current crop of rookies. I know last year, I think, was kind of an anomaly with all the success those guys had. But give me the Cardinals -5.5. I think they cover easily. Maybe put them in some parlays. I think they're a good parlay piece this week. And then my second pick, this one's tough for me because I think both of these teams analytically, they rank out pretty even. But I'm going to have to go with the Chargers -2.5 at home. This is the Browns' second consecutive road game. They just played in Minnesota last week, and they're staying on the road, and they're going over to Los Angeles and playing a second road game in 2 weeks. So I'm going to go with the Chargers. I like their secondary. Their run defense is probably not the best, but I think they're going to be able to zone in on the run and make Baker beat you. And I don't think he has the weapons to do that vertically. So give me the Chargers -2.5 and the Cardinals -5.5 to add on to the Rams, who I think won pretty easily after Russ got hurt last on Thursday.
Facts. That was facts. He did get hurt. Out 6 to 8 weeks, man. So for all you Seattle Seahawks fans out there, tough blow, tough pill to swallow. So let me go over mine. Justin copied me with the Bills like he always does. Justin copied Roland with the Cardinals. So and then he took the homer pick. So he's just copying us, guys. But we did go 8-4 as a team last week. So if you guys followed us, if you followed our picks, and you took all our bets, 8-4, you won some money. I think the week before we were also in the black. So I mean, this is an opportunity for you guys to make money, obviously through Bet King. But on my picks here, +3 for the Bills. Ben's on them. Justin's on them as well. Josh Allen is the real deal. I don't think I'm just preaching to the choir here. I think it's going to be a hard fought game, and in KC, I mean, if it's a close game like everybody expects it to be, having that +3 there is great. A late field goal can't beat you. A late field goal could even win the game for you. It could be a sneaky backdoor. The +3 is awesome for the Bills. Like I said, Stephon Diggs, I think, goes off as well. We're on the other side here. I don't think we've had contradicting picks, but I think for the first week, Roland's on the Chargers and I'm on the Browns here. Like I said, Baker is hurt, but that defense is fucking playing lights out, man. So I think the defense. I think that it's more of a defensive game. I said it. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. So give me the Browns. I know, like Roland mentioned, it is their second away game. They have to travel, but I think they depend on the run. The run keeps them in the game. It's a
monster.
Yes, sir. It's a close game here. So give me the Browns +2 there. And then I'm going to go with Philly +4. They're playing Carolina, I believe. If you look at the teams that Carolina has played, I know they just played the boys and they got, worked by the boys, but they played the Jets, they played New Orleans, and they played the Texans. bottom of the barrel teams, which is why everybody kind of thought, oh my God, here comes Carolina. They're this, Darnold's, with the new team and, yada, yada, yada. But the Eagles, on the contrary, have played tougher teams. They played the 49ers. They played the Cowboys. They played the Chiefs. And I think that they hang in there. And +4 is a really good number to have. The field goal cannot even beat you there. So CMC was doubtful earlier in the week. I don't know what he's upgraded to now. He's probably going to play. He's out. There you go, man. CMC's out. So those are my 4 picks. Philly +4, Cleveland +2, and the Bills +3. All dogs, man. All dogs this Sunday. So hopefully we can eat.
That's pretty cool, man. All dogs. I didn't even realize that when I was putting them in for you today.
And, Ben already gave out his picks. He gave them out on Thursday. One of them was the Rams. One of them is the Bills, like Ron and Justin have on their card. And he has one game going on right now. I think Ben jumped on all that injury news that came out on the week for the Falcons. And he went ahead and jumped on the Jets +3.
Diego's laughing at him.
If anybody's watching the game, the Jets are fighting desperately for that back door. So Ben, I'm sure, is watching the Jets. They're not out yet in terms of the spread. They're probably not going to win the game, but they still have a chance at a backdoor push maybe for Ben's sake at +3. They're down 11 right now. So, and they have the ball.
All right, moving on to the parlay of the day. This is just a parlay I'm giving out. Again, homer pick, I know. And both of them were on my pick for the super contest.
I like
Cardinals and Cowboys -120. A little bit of juice, but not too much. Let's cash, boys. I think this is something that very capable of happening this week.
I have them in a parlay too. To add on to that, I have those two guys or two teams as a part of a parlay as well. So let's cash.
I like it.
My teaser of the day, I think so far 2-2. Going into week 5 on my teasers last week. I think I lost. It was embarrassing. I lost both legs of the teaser. The Saints lost. I had them down to PK.
Saints, I believe you.
The Lions had every opportunity in the world to cover that 9.5, but just decided they didn't want to score touchdowns. But anyways, my teaser of the day is I took this earlier, so the line might have moved a little bit, but for the sake of the podcast, it was the Buccaneers down to -3 from 10 and a 7-point teaser, and the Bills up to +10, up from +3 and a 7-point teaser. Both of those lines have moved, so the lines might be off. So I just want to keep that in mind. But the lines have only moved a half point, so you're still covering key numbers in each instance. Or if you want, go ahead and do like a 10-point teaser and throw these teams in there with maybe like the Cowboys or something like that.
There you go.
And help yourself out. But yeah, my 7-point teaser is the Bills and the Bills up to +10 and the Bucks down to -3.
I know some teasers, man, on some books actually give you plus money depending on how many points you get them at.
Yeah, if you throw like 3 or 4, I know Diego does a bunch of teams in his teasers, almost like a parlay. And you get some pretty good plus money on those.
Yeah, so I like this with what you mentioned, throwing the Cowboys in there, and maybe you can get some plus money, man. So,
all right, where can they find us, Ron?
Shit, you already know. We talking about sports on Facebook. We talking about sports on Twitter, and we talking about sports on YouTube, man. We're really trying to build the YouTube page. If you guys haven't subscribed yet, I know you have to create an account, but it's not that hard. It takes like 5 seconds, bro. So just create an account on YouTube. That way you can subscribe to us. Justin has been going pretty hard on Twitter, if trying to get more followers. So we'd appreciate the follows and the shares. If you can, any stuff that you post on Twitter, tag us, man. Tag us. So other people can see it too. And then Facebook also. So we appreciate the love, man. And we're there on social.
And remember, guys, Bet King Online on Twitter as well. Promo code WTBS. 5th week of plays. If you're following me, you've made some money. If you followed Ron, you're probably at halfway to making some money. All good. Doesn't matter. But yeah, Bet King Online, promo code WTBS. If you need any help setting up the book, let us know. We can guide you and we can get you connected with them. So look at that as well.
Yeah.
Guys,
Before
MLB.
we go.
MLB.
Oh my God, you read my fucking mind. I was gonna say
it's right here on the hat.
I was gonna say,
Today.
take that damn hat off.
You already know what it is.
What you got? What you got over there, Roland? Who you rocking?
The Astros. This is Apollo 11. I went they were
Damn.
honoring Apollo 11 or something on one of the games I went to. So a little special edition cap, but still repping
Rolling
the Astros.
with the special edition.
Still repping the Astros. Hopefully, we get up 3-0 and we return the sweep all these years later on the White Sox. Albeit it's not in the World Series, but we still sweep them.
White Sox was a team earlier in this year that I thought was a contender, and to be up 2-0 on them is pretty nice.
Yeah,
I picked them. I actually picked them in this pool that we have going. But shout out to EC, shout out to Peck on the show because he's got a massive parlay, bro. Like a $25 parlay. He's playing out close to $300, but he took the White Sox. So hopefully he cashes it today. So shout out to EC and shout out to the boys right here for making it 1-1. Thank you for changing the lineup. They finally changed the lineup. They switched it up. They got Chris Taylor in there. He came up fucking huge last night. So that series is tied 1-1, and I look forward to some good baseball, boys.
Hey, and just real quick, +3 for the Jets is now live, 20-17.
Hey,
winning.
all right.
Hey, just quick little thing before we sign off. I left the Jets on in my pick'em in the little pool that we're in. Justin,
Oh, you told me that this morning.
I had them at +3.5, and I checked this morning because I was going to take them off, but I forget the game had started and I left them in. I was like,
hey, nice, bro.
Did you have the Rams too?
We'll see. No, I didn't even take the Rams, so I had to pick
two down already.
Yeah. I have to pick two other teams. So
come on, that's rolling.
Yeah, I got to get a dub. You guys have already won. Each have won 1 week each. So.
Yeah, true. 3-0.
All right, guys. Hey, have a good Sunday. Thanks for everybody who tuned in.
Thank you, guys. Sunday, one thing.
We'll be back Thursday for Thursday Night Football.
Yeah. What do we got? What do we got coming up, Justin? Any UFC? Any?
No UFC this weekend. It's another card that just not the quality of card that you want to cover as much. Maybe me and Ben might do a main event recap or so. I don't know if you have any MLB videos coming up this week. If you do, they'll be posted through our Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. But if not, we'll see you Thursday night for Thursday Night Football.
And that Thursday night matchup is between the Bucks and the Eagles. So pretty decent matchup.
Not bad.
It's not Rams Cardinals or Rams and Seahawks, but it's good.
One last question before we log off. I don't think we answered this for Diego. He's always here. I think he got on late, but he wants to know with the recent news with Dalvin Cook being out, do you start Madison or do you load up Najee Harris again? For me,
man,
I think Najee Harris, you log him, you load him up. I know the run game really hasn't been there, but the usage is there, and Ben has been Mr. Checkdown. Najee Harris has been catching him. So I think the Broncos do have a strong defense, but if there's anywhere that they're going to get beat, it is going to be underneath. And I think Najee's been taking advantage of that. So I would load up Najee. I might be wrong, but that's just me.
Go ahead, Justin. Go ahead.
If you're in a PPR, it's Najee. If it's a PPR.
Who do we say to load up on and they fucking went off? Thursday. Was it Thursday?
Thursday we said
it's Pitts.
Pitts.
Was it Pitts?
Those were the two questions. Yeah. Oh no, Thursday
No.
we were talking about in our props. We talked about Robert Woods. I know I had him in my props.
Yeah, we're like,
Woods.
dude, he went fucking stupid. Yeah. To answer Diego's question, I mean, it's Diego's this is kind of like a homer pick, right? Because I mean, Najee's
Steeler.
It's up to you, Diego. I mean, Najee's your boy. You're a huge Steelers fan. It's gonna be tough. I think you're going to start him anyway just because he's a Steeler. Me personally, I would go with Madison. I'm fucking over anything going. Well, I shouldn't say that because the wide receiver for Pittsburgh did have a good Deontay did have a good week, but I don't know, man. It's tough. They're playing the Broncos, like Roland mentioned, so it could be a low-scoring game. I would go Madison just because I think that the offense is going to produce more with the Vikings today, but he's your guy, man, so it's up to you. Najee, it is. There you see.
There it is.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you Thursday.
That's it, boys. Good luck to everybody. Thank you for watching.